relationships, and I really love that he created this game, and I have it over here. I should grab it. No Love board games simulation. It's a simulation. He's got years and years of coaching experience, and he's also married. Talking about what he's cooking for Thanksgiving this week, which I love. And so, Edward, he's helped so many people develop emotional maturity, to repair and to connect. And so tonight we're going to talk about accountability. And sometimes it just feels really threatening. And we're going to dig into that tonight. So welcome, Edward.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me again. I was elated to get the request from your assistant. I was like, do I want to come back? Yes, I want to come back. Please
Yeah.
just tell me when and where. I'll be there. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love to see you come back because it was so powerful, our last conversation. And hey, I want to say hi to people here. I see people in the chat. Please, if
Uh-oh.
you're joining us, I see y'all piling in here.
Oh,
As you're
yeah.
joining us, please say hello and tell us where you're coming from and
Yeah.
share your story. If y'all had
Mm,
issues with accountability, and hello
mm,
everybody who's joining us. You got you got two counselors here. I'm a
mm,
therapist. Edward Fairley
mm,
is a coach, a relationship
mm.
coach. So you got
Yes.
two people here. Put your questions in the chat because where else do you get two smart Black people in here talking about
I know that's
relationships?
right.
Hey, Tammy from Georgia is on.
Yes.
We got Seldom Seen. Seldom Seen. I see you, Seldom Seen from
Mm,
Cleveland. You're often seen. And
yes. Yes.
what is this? A. Kelly Success Together Today. That's what's up. Hey, good
Hmm.
evening. Okay, so let's jump right in. Oh, wait, before we jump right in, I just want to say, um, for some of us joining us, if you're interested in working with me, of course, put that in here. You can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. I've been a licensed therapist for, oh my gosh, my son is 22, so for 22 years. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Um, and I have a free book club all about healing relationships. Go to draliciabookclub.com and then you get the link to private Zoom chat. And of course, if you want to keep up with me, you can text the word love, LOVE, to 87948. You get all sorts of really cool information from me. Okay. So, and then let's talk about you, Edward. Edward, y'all want to get a hold of Edward. How to fall in love again.com. He's got this game. Let me grab it. I grab it right here. No love. Wait, is it shining?
Simulation. Yes. It's perfect. It
Yes.
looks good.
Let me put it up here.
Yes.
NoLoveInc.com. It's a simulation about
Yes,
relationships. So
ma'am.
be sure to grab that because we got the holidays coming up. So
Yes. Yes.
let's
Yes.
support Black business. Oh, and
Perfect.
speaking of Black business, I launched my new website today.
Oh,
Uh,
congratulations.
it's called Healing. I don't even know what it is. Healing with dralicia.com. Yeah, get everything that you need. There it is. Healing. I'm gonna leave that up there so you guys can see that. I just launched it today. Healing with
Congratulations.
dralicia.com.
Yeah.
I'm leaving it up there, all about healing products. Every single product, I handpicked the scents, the medicinal effects that it has on you. Please be sure to go to healingwithdralicia.com. Okay, so we got to get right into it because we don't have that much time. And
Right.
I know Rochelle Taylor from Rockford, Illinois. I'm sure she really wants to know this question. Why? Why is accountability so hard for people in relationships? I'm not talking about otherwise, but I'm talking about in a romantic relationship. They say they love somebody, they say they want to grow. But why is accountability so difficult?
That's a great question. So it's difficult because it's much easier to hold others accountable than it is to hold yourself accountable. And that's for multiple reasons. The first reason that I give as your pass is you are the only person that you've never seen before. You've never seen yourself before outside of trusting a reflection in the mirror, trusting a reflection in the phone camera or something like that. You've never ever seen yourself before. You're the only person you've never seen before. So it's easy for you to look externally out and see people's flaws or where they mess up or what have you, but you don't get an opportunity to see yourself and get to critique your actions or lack thereof. So that is the pass that I will give you. But oftentimes we will point blame at others, and then we'll say if they got their self together, then I will have more of a reason to get myself together, which is enough. That would be the cop out. Only reason why I'm doing this is because he or she is doing this, and if they do this, then I would be able to respond accordingly. So it's putting it out on somebody else. So that would be the reason why it's difficult in relationships for accountability to work to help people grow.
Oh my goodness, that is really, really fascinating. I think what you're saying is that it's so easy to see where someone else falls short and how it creates an issue in the relationship, but it is really, really difficult for that person to hold that mirror up to themselves to see their part in the problem.
Oh yeah, most
Because
certainly.
two people get together and they have relationship problems, which show me one that does not.
That's right.
But to manage those problems, you need to say the words, I am partly to blame.
Oh yeah, most
Why
certainly.
can't we say,
Now,
we can't say that? I know that I am partly to blame. If people went into relationships with the ability to say those words, hey, I know we're going through a tough time right now. I know I'm partly to blame. If y'all just said that to one another, it instantly brings the tension down in the relationship.
most
Because
certainly.
not to have problems, not to have issues and conflict, that's unrealistic. But
Yeah,
to
most certainly.
deal with those by just saying, I am partly to blame, is going to require what you said, require you to be able to be reflective and to
Yeah,
see how you are contributing to it.
most certainly. And that's where conflict comes into play in relationships in the first place, because that a relationship is literally living in a mirror. And if you can't stand what you see on a day-to-day basis, that's where you're going to have problems with yourself, because you're going to see that you have not been cleaning up behind yourself. You're going to see that you're not a good communicator. You're going to see all of these things, and they're right in your face. You cannot hide anymore. Once you become a partner, you're married and you live together, there's no more hiding. So you are going to see yourself through the reflection of your mate every single day. And if you have a problem with that and you're not willing to get that crud off your lip, the toothpaste that you missed, whatever that is that you're getting to see on a daily basis, you're not going to be able to grow and fix the issues that are in the relationship.
Whew. I mean, come on. You can't stand what you see. To me, that signals people come from such a place of shame.
Oh yeah, most certainly.
And that shame starts getting into childhood wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And childhood wounds, that's where you start bringing up stuff. Like that's core issue. When I hear people who can't take accountability because they're not able to reflect about how they played a part in the situation, they can't say I'm partly to blame. You got a bunch of people walking around thinking there's something wrong with me.
Oh yeah,
They
most
can't
certainly.
take accountability because it is a catastrophe to their own sense of self to take accountability. And that instantly tells me that there is some childhood wounds that is gets to the core issue of why people in relationships cannot be accountable, can't say, I did that, that was wrong, I am so sorry, let's make it right. I understand how my actions hurt you and you didn't deserve that. Some people would rather jump off a bridge than to be able to say those words because of the shame that they carry with them.
Well, there's so many things that trains a person to not hold themselves accountable. So we can bring up childhood traumas. We can even bring up the education system. If we're taught to not be wrong, we'll try to hide from being wrong, as opposed to learning that being wrong is an opportunity for growth. Even if we think about, and people are thrown off when I say this, because I had a guy that asked me, said, how do you build trust in a relationship? I said, to be honest with you, the way to build trust in a relationship is disagreement. And he
Yes.
was thrown off. He said, wait, what?
Yes.
The way to build trust in a relationship is through disagreement. I said, I'm not intentional about it, but I do look for, if I have a new relationship that I begin, and this doesn't have to be romantic, it's just in general. If I have a new relationship that I begin, I look for opportunities to have disagreement. The reason why I do this is because until I have disagreement, you don't know that I will disagree with you. You might feel that I am just going to take your side. I'm going to agree with everything that you say and what have you. And it's not until I have a disagreement with you, but with that followed by, with my disagreement, I'm not bashing you. I'm just showing you that I just don't agree with you. And I give you a safe place to have your opinion about whatever it is that you're thinking. And there lies the trust, because now you trust me not to use what you said that might be something that I disagree with in a manner that I put it in your face or cause harm. You just understand that I will and I'm willing to disagree with you. So when I am honest and I do agree with you, you know that that's true. And you also know that when I disagree with you, you know I'm going to be honest. So you can't find honesty or trust without some kind of conflict, because that's where the depth and the intimacy truly comes from.
It's a paradox that people
Yeah.
don't understand. People don't understand. They think that the road to this wonderful marriage or wonderful relationship is paved with this yellow brick road full of roses and rainbows, and it is not, because you don't know somebody until you have a disagreement with them. And that's the thing. How comfortable are you with difference?
Yes,
I
well
can't
said.
tell you. How do you expect somebody to just abandon their entire background, what's important to them, things that are mean to them, and just come and just forget about who and what they are so that they can just agree with you all the time? And it's that agreeableness that I feel like it's just, people get torn apart by that. They really are unrealistic to think that another person, because you're married to them, that they have to be an extension of who you are. They are not able to honor and respect a person's individual differences. As far where I'm sitting as a couples therapist, where I'm sitting as a couples therapist,
Go in.
I see difference as complementary.
It very much so is.
And
Yeah,
it is
most
what
certainly.
makes the family unit healthy, when people are allowed to be their own individual selves, because everybody has strengths and weaknesses. You're not supposed to be good at everything together. You're supposed to have differences. You're supposed to be able to allow differences. Oh my God. Hey, I see y'all coming in. I see people coming in. I see y'all piling into the chat. I see people coming in, watching us. Listen, we are talking about love without accountability. It ain't nothing but chaos. The road is not going to be a yellow big road to eyes. Thinking that everything, I got my green on today for alphabet, but that yellow brick road is supposed to be paved, according to my expert here, Edward Fairley. He's saying it's supposed to be paved with conflict.
Most certainly.
Let's get realistic about that. And if you are uncomfortable with conflict, you need to address that. If you can't take accountability because you are more comfortable holding everybody else, pointing the finger to see what your partner did wrong, and you can't show a mirror to how you played a part in that, then this is problematic. And I see down the educator, yes, Edward just talked about something very fascinating about the education system. And it's so interesting because my children, they're all grown up. Most of them are grown up now. But yeah, educational systems are put together where everything is individualistic. They call it individuation, where you're not really challenged because they don't want you to feel bad about somebody else knowing more and developing more, that things need to be tailored to your learning and the way you learn instead of you being able to stretch and grow. And so I think because of that, we get into this mindset where we're very uncomfortable with differences, with people thinking different from you. I can go on my Instagram and I know algorithm is going to feed me certain information. They're not going to feed me information that I disagree with, because that's not how the algorithm is played up. So we have a bunch of people who is not comfortable with conflict and hearing another point of view. They're not comfortable with somebody thinking differently from them. And I think that plays a lot into why relationships, interpersonal relationships, are so difficult right now more than ever, because we're not comfortable with the differences, because we don't spend our lives interacting with people who are different from us and making that be comfortable for them.
And that's and that has a lot, and that's what I meant by the education system, because if you're taught that certain things are right or wrong, because that's how a school system works. You're taking a test, this is right or is wrong. And it's not how to think, it's what to think, because I told you to think this, which is what determines whether it's right or wrong. So now we're fighting in a relationship to make you feel that I'm right and you're wrong. And it's not going to work out that way. And the sad thing, the crazy thing about it is you both can be right. So you both definitely have the ability to be right. And also, there's so many things that are going in my head right now. But the first thing I wanted to say is there's no appreciation without differentiation.
Yes.
So I can't even appreciate, like, people, you can't appreciate love until you've seen hate. You cannot appreciate, like, you have to see both sides. I'll put it to you this way. If I am a candle standing in the essence of the sun, right? And the sun is trying to convince me that I am the light, it's going to be very difficult for me to receive that truth about myself, though I am light as a candle. If I'm standing in the presence of a sun, the sun, and it's telling me that I am the light, it's going to be difficult for it to relay that message to me. But if you take me and you put me in darkness as a candle, I am able to appreciate the understanding that I am light. So it is the contrast that allows for me to appreciate who it is that I am. So when we get past this, things are right or wrong, as opposed to this just is here, or this is the way things are here, or this is this person's perspective, mine isn't necessarily right or wrong, and we grow more curious about each other's thought processes, that's where we find intimacy. And that's where we grow collectively in our way of thinking and growing together. You follow?
Yes. And what you're saying is so important. And I love the analogy about the getting grades, having a right answer and a wrong answer, because what happens if you get enough right answers? You get on the honor roll. Your name is printed. In my school district, your name is literally printed in the paper. Like you are news. And the school district pats themselves on the back. And of course, as parents, I think I am a good mama because my kids on their honor roll. But it's so fascinating because I was talking to my daughter recently, and she was saying, I want to make straight A's. And she was worried about making straight A's. And I stopped and I said, hold on. What do you mean straight A's? I said, I want to know that you learned something.
Well said. Well said.
You know, because when I was in college, there were classes I took that I would just get an A in it and I didn't learn hardly anything. But there were classes, cognitive psychology was one of them. I took that class, I got a C in that class, but I learned so much about human behavior in that class that it did not matter. And I think as a society, we're putting too much emphasis on external validation
Most certainly.
That
Most
I
certainly.
have to be right, that everything has to be my way, that I can't tolerate
Yeah.
any pushback at all. I'm a college
That's
professor, so I
that's
know students can't tolerate me critiquing their grade. Like, hello, you need to be open for
yeah.
instruction, like I'm
Yeah.
your
Most certainly.
instructor. And so that is what it is. It's not the grade that you get, it's what you learned about that person, what you
Most
learned
certainly.
about that topic. And so many times we get caught into what's right or wrong, and
Mhm.
parents reinforce this education system by giving people money. Every A you
Oh,
get,
yeah. Yeah.
I'm giving you money.
Yeah. That's I I mean, I'll give a good example of what it is that we're discussing. I remember when we first got married, me and my wife, probably the first year or so, the way that my job was set up, I was a Cox communication technician. So my hours were crazy. I worked like 12-hour shifts. But if I had downtime, I could sneak into the barbershop and get a haircut. So I could, but so my timing, I couldn't set up an appointment. I could just sneak in when I could get in. So there was times where I left the house looking like a wolf. All right. I mean, shabby beard, everything, hair. I looked crazy leaving the house, right? But then I had downtime and I was able to sneak into the barbershop, get cleaned up, get my beard groomed, my hair cut or what have you, get a nice line and everything. And then I would come home, and my wife never noticed that I had a haircut.
Oh,
She would never notice that I had a haircut. Now I pay attention to detail. I see everything. I'm going to notice what's going on. So I projected that thought process on my wife, and it went for about 6 to 7 months, and I was upset. So finally I got upset enough to say, hey, you know what? How can you say you love a person that when I leave the house, I look like a whole wolf and I come back looking like a human being? And you don't recognize that I have a haircut. And my wife, she didn't shy away from the accusation, so to speak. She said, you know what? You're exactly right. I never noticed when you get a haircut. She said, but I have a question that I want to ask you. I said, what's that? She said, when you don't have a haircut, does sex get less? She said, do I treat you any differently?
oh,
She said, and when you do get a haircut, do you get more sex? Do you get more attention or what have you? I said, no. She said, because that's not how I see you.
yes.
She said, I see you. I'm into you. It doesn't change when you get a haircut or get cleaned up or not. I'm into you. And at that moment, because I
Yes.
was willing to bring conflict to her, I thought to myself, she better not ever notice when I get a haircut moving forward, because I learned that my worth was past my exterior.
Mhm.
I learned that my value to my woman was way past what I looked like on the outside. She was into me.
Yes.
She saw me. But it wasn't until I brought conflict to her and I spoke out on what I felt was wrong about her. And I learned what was wrong about me. I learned what my problem was and what I thought was valuable. And I found value in myself from me bringing conflict to my wife and calling myself checking her. And I
Checking.
got checked. So that is what the
Mhm.
opportunity that conflict can give you intimacy. It can actually you can see the value in each other by bringing up the things that you think you don't like, and you might shift your point of view and your perspective and grow and evolve as a couple. So I'll
But
put a period there.
it took you bringing it to her attention. And I think like so many times people just have they just expect somebody to just read their mind. It took you being
That's correct.
comfortable enough with the possibility of there being conflict for
Hmm.
you to
Hmm.
say, there's something I need to talk to you about. It's been on my
Yeah,
mind. I have a question. Is this a good time?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
most
and
certainly.
then say, gosh, can you explain this to me? And you listen to what she had to say, because listening is important.
Yeah,
And you learned something about her, and
yeah, yeah,
she learned something about you too.
that's
And
correct.
in both of you, what I'm hearing from you is that you were flexible enough to be moved, to change your position based on what she
Mm.
said.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh yeah.
believed her. This is the healthiness in the relationship. There are some
Yeah.
people that you can't bring anything up to them
Mm-mm.
because they'll instantly just start screaming and yelling and going back and getting triggered and all of that. Having a nice, loving conversation about that. And I just didn't know. She could have gotten defensive. She could have
Oh yeah.
blamed. She could have shut
Mm-hmm.
down, and then it would
Oh
have
yeah.
been a spiral. When it was a wonderful opportunity for both of you to get to know each other better. So, what would you say about that? If someone is triggered and they're not able to be in a place where they're are able to really listen, and they can't take accountability, they can't have this conversation. What would you say to them? To hold
That's a great
somebody
question.
who can't do that. Yes.
Who can't receive it or who can't give it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because oftentimes the issue is how you give it, and this is how I teach my clients. And let me first address the underlying issue with that, because you brought it up indirectly, and it's the belief and assumption that there's a such thing as common sense. So the first thing I have to help people understand is that there's no such thing as common sense.
Mm-mm.
Your thought process and your philosophies are all learned behaviors, and all common sense, if we really think about it, to us means everybody knows that. The irony, when you say, well, that's common sense, what you're really saying is everyone knows that. Now, the irony in that is we only say that when someone does the opposite of what everyone supposedly knew, which is evidence that everyone does not know that. Now, I say that to say this is why a lot of times we don't talk about the things that we think should be fixed, because we believe that everyone knows that, and now we just feel disrespected. So I want to start with that. So typically we don't bring it up because we think that it's obvious, and because I know it, you know it, and you're just deciding not to do it. Thus, me saying, how can you say you don't love someone and you don't recognize that I look like a totally different person when I come home? That means apparently you should know this and you should see this. That's not true to her. That's a learned behavior or something in my life that causes me to have a perspective. So the first thing I tell people to do is, if you think something is common sense, that's exactly what you need to discuss at that moment. You need to say, and this is how you do it, because it's in your presentation. So what I teach people to do is say, hey, when you did this or you didn't do this, this is the way I took it. Is that the way you meant for me to take it? Now, this person, and what you're going to do is 9 times out of 10, they can be like, whoa, that was way off. That is not what I meant when I said this, or I didn't say this. And then they're going to counter with their perspective and their point of view. Now you understand where they're coming from. You've gained intimacy and wisdom on how they look at things from that point of view, and you might adopt their philosophy or thought process now. Or because there is that rare chance where they'll be like, that's exactly how I wanted you to receive it. And now you have the right to be upset.
Right.
Now you have the right to say whatever it is that you were ready to say, or you had built up or whatever, and get whatever it is off your chest, because they've validated your assumption, which was a negative one towards you or an attack towards you. And you need to check whatever that is in that particular moment. So
I love what you're saying, because you really do need to check your assumptions, because people just like draw conclusions instantly. They get triggered. They're not mindful enough to stop and think about what they're thinking about and to check. They just go from attack because they are seeing that person is threatening to them, and the other person is not doing anything from where they're sitting, is not doing anything threatening. And you have to be able to do that. And what I like about this, everybody knows that. Just that word. It's almost like, I'm like, dang, why are you devaluing me? It's almost like everybody knows that. It's contemptuous. It's like, oh, everybody knows that. And if you don't know it, then there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. Now, when I was a teen, younger, and a guy came and visited us in Virginia from the West Coast. from California, South Central to be exact. And he came, and it was around either before 4th of July or a little bit after the 4th of July. And we're outside playing in the summertime, and someone set off some firecrackers. Pop, pop, pop. This kid dove face first in the bushes. I mean, face first in the bushes. And everybody's looking like, what the heck is wrong with you? Common sense to tell you it's the 4th of July, somebody set off firecrackers. But if we were in South Central where he was from, and we heard pop, pop, and we just thought because of the 4th of July, everything was cool and we didn't get low, it would have cost us our lives possibly.
That's right.
Because we didn't know to dive and get down low from where he was, because pop, pop in his backyard means gunshot. So a gunshot. So if we don't know people's perspective, that's why it's so imperative, like you said, to have diverse backgrounds, diverse conversations, to learn different thought process so that you don't make assumptions and think that your way is the only way, to where everything is a conflict because the way that you were raised, this is the way that it was. And if we take the opportunity, which is why I think it's so powerful to say, this is the way I took it. Is that the way you meant for me to take it? Now they know your stance and how you received it. And now they have the opportunity to show you that what you should already know. No, I love you. Why would you think that first?
Yes.
That's the crazy thing about it. We choose people that we are in a relationship with, and we marry. And the first thing we think that they're going to do is do something to harm us.
Or to leave us, or to reject us.
Have been.
Yes. That's or to wake up one day and say, I don't really love this person like I thought.
That is the product of the trauma that you were talking about earlier.
Yes.
We're taking something that happened and we're like, I knew it was too good to be true. This has to be that moment.
And even that it's so like distressing to some people that they will even sabotage the relationship. They'd rather sabotage the marriage than to just accept the fact that that person loves them for them. They'd rather make it hard on them to even be around them.
You just said a mouthful. You just said a mouthful, because that like you brought up earlier, like that childhood trauma, not feeling worthy, not feeling valued or whatever, that causes you to put up a mask. And again, going back to being right or wrong. So if you're trying to avoid being wrong, you'll defend yourself to the death to try to be right, and you miss out on an opportunity for growth and evolution. It's sad. But again, if you don't love yourself and you're concerned about losing something, and it could be anything, losing being right, losing a person, which is causing you to hide who you really are. So you never experience love because you've never presented your true self to the person. So even if they've chosen you, you really still have not been chosen because you have not presented yourself as the true and your true form to where you are chosen. It's just so much. It's so many layers to this. It's sad.
Oh my gosh,
I get emotional about it because it's such a sad way to be.
Because what's happening is that holding up that mask, that's ego. That's ego. I always think that ego, to me, it's really like the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz, he had to be this big, wonderful whiz, and he had to hide behind this shield to shield himself, and he presented himself like he was strong and powerful and the powerful Wizard of Oz, and do all these wonderful things, but he was a coward.
Yeah, most certainly.
He was behind the scenes. He was afraid. He was scared. He wouldn't put down that shield. And this is what's happening. If you're led to believe in childhood that there is something fundamentally wrong with you, with the shame, you are never going to be able to have a healthy relationship in your adult life because you can't take accountability. Okay.
Well, you haven't even loved yourself yet.
You haven't loved yourself.
You can't even receive love in its essence because you haven't done it yet.
You don't know what it looks like.
You have no idea. No.
And you can't give love to another person. Can't give it.
And if you cannot give it, you cannot receive it.
Whew, child. Okay. Let me tell you. Hello, everybody. We got more people joining us. How you doing? I'm Dr. Alicia Watkins. I'm a therapist, college professor, social worker, all of those wonderful things. I got with me Edward Fairley. Fairley is like a life coach. He's got a game out, y'all. Look at this. I got it right here. It's called No Love from no love to no love. Oh gosh, what
Yeah.
is it? You really did a good job putting that together.
Thank you.
And if
Thank
you're
you. I appreciate
interested in that, you can go to noloveinc.com. And of course, I think to get a hold of you, that's your website, right? How to
it. Yes,
fall
ma'am. Yes,
in
ma'am.
love again.com. And
Mm,
okay, if you like what I'm saying, for all y'all who
mm.
like what I'm saying,
Yeah.
get your
Yeah. Yeah.
phones out. Be sure to text love to 87948 for information about me. I do have a free book club. It's free. You got to come live. DrAliciaBookClub.com. All we do is talk about healthy relationships,
That's
and I
good.
love the book club. But you can come to my website. Now you do have to pull your wallet out for this. Go to Coaching with Dr. Alicia. My
That's right.
brain is not all the way free.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Yes.
of
Yes.
course, you can follow me on Coaching with Dr. Alicia on all the handles, YouTube. I'm even on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Be sure to get on there. And we are talking about love without accountability is absolute chaos. And I want to talk about the source of this chaos because, woo boy, we're hitting on some things today because we're talking about not letting go of the mask. Because if
Mm.
you let go of the mask, you will take accountability. I think we got down to the core issue of it. What do you do when you say, hey, what you did really hurt my feelings? We had this agreement, and you're talking to somebody about it, and they know they were wrong. They won't take accountability, but instead they say, that's just me. Deal with it. That's just me being me. So what if you're in a relationship with someone and that's what they say to you? They won't take accountability, but instead they'll turn and look at you and say, that's just me being me. You're just going to have to accept it. And I'm not going to take accountability for it because that's me being me. And that is that person going back and holding on to the defenses. They created that defenses. They made defenses as part of their personality. Personality flaws is what they call it. What do you say to this? To someone who's just stuck in their ways. They're stuck with being right, and they'd rather sabotage the relationship and dig into that's just me. What do you say?
All right. So see, this goes back to accountability. And what I mean by that is you have to have accountability from when you're dating all the way until you're married. So when you have chosen a person that is like that, you have to be accountable for making a decision to decide to be with a person that is like that. I promise you, if you get to that conversation in a relationship, be it you're married or in a relationship, that's not the first time you saw that person. So you've made decisions from your dating phase all the way up until that point, to where you've accepted that kind of behavior and that kind of treatment. So that in its essence suggests that you don't have love for yourself. So now, if you grow in love, now you have to make a decision because I said it earlier, you cannot receive love unless you give it. And with love comes respect. Uh, with love comes forgiveness, a whole bunch of things. So if you're allowing or tolerating disrespect, you don't love yourself. So just like they said, that's you. Now you have to, I mean, that's them. Now you have to determine who you are and what you accept as those things. Now, I said it earlier, I alluded to how I respond to that. Because once I share with you that this is how I took it, and you say, oh, that's exactly how I meant for you to take it. Now I have the right to say whatever it is that I have to say in my defense or what have you. So I'm going to address the issue and I'm going to let you know what I'm going to tolerate for me or myself or my house or what have you, because I will not tolerate being disrespected or something that is done that is degrading or rude or disrespectful to me. So just like you have a right to do what it is that you do, or that's just who you are, let me show you who I am. Now you can be dismissed. Now you can be gone. Now you can, whatever that looks like, it all depends on the circumstance. But I will not tolerate being disrespected disrespected because I love myself, and to love myself will not allow for that to happen. And once I give you permission to do it, that is allowing you to agree with what I agree with, which is that I don't love myself enough to stand up for the way that you're treating me right now.
So what you're saying is that you just need to believe people. You know how Oprah Winfrey made that statement, like, if somebody shows you who you are, you got to believe them. So really, it's like that's a choice. It's a no-brainer of a choice to make. In healthy relationships, everybody deserves to be in a healthy relationship.
It's a no-brainer to a person that loves themselves.
Yes.
So if you feel like you need this person, you're going to allow certain things because you're concerned that they're going to go. But if you're fine with, this is what I need people to understand.
Yes.
You're going to end up alone. I need that to settle in. Whoever's listening right now, you're going to end up alone, be it a great marriage or a terrible marriage, through death or divorce.
Yes.
You're going to end up alone. It would behoove you to work on having a wonderful and loving relationship with yourself, because you're going to end up with yourself. So you're putting all of your energy in your wife, putting all of your energy in your spouse. You're going to end up alone. Again, be it they die or divorce. The most important relationship you can have is the one with yourself. Because if you master love of self, now you've mastered love and you can give it to other people. But if you're disrespectful to yourself, you're going to allow disrespect. You're going to be disrespectful. You're not going to allow yourself to be forgiven. You're not going to forgive others. It takes for you to do it first in order for you to receive it and for you to give it. And when I mean by for you to receive it, because there's so many people that are actually loved, but because they have yet to love themselves, they can't believe that they can be loved. So even though that they're receiving love, they don't believe that it's happening because they don't think that love is possible for themselves. So their belief about it is preventing them from receiving something that they already have access to. It's sad.
It really is sad, because first of all, you have to come to terms with the fact that grief and loss is embedded in every single relationship, because they all come to an end, every single one of them, either death or divorce. It is never going to be forever. And what will be forever is your relationship with yourself.
That's correct.
And the thing is that, that is a hard thing to come up with. You were born by yourself. You're going to leave by yourself. And that is really what's important to you. And life is short. So if you're listen, it is an honor to carve out time in your life to dedicate to one person. Whoever that person is, that's an honor. And if that person does not recognize how honorable that is, that another person has committed themselves to you, that is a precious little piece. That is the person you wake up to in the morning, you go to sleep with at night. It's your first of kin. They make decisions for you. You are legally together. It's a legal implication there. Married. Like, how can you live and slice out your life, a significant part of your life, with somebody? And it's toxic.
Yeah, most certainly.
And that person won't say, I'm sorry. And that person doesn't feel terrible for hurting your feelings. Yeah, I hurt your feelings and I do it again. Like, what is that? Do you? And I say this to couples. I'm like, do you see yourself living the rest of your life like this?
Yeah, most certainly.
Okay, if things don't change, okay, how long are you willing to stick with it, hoping that things will change before you give up? Like, I put time limits on these things. How long are you willing to work on this?
Yeah. And the sad thing about it is a lot of people think that I'm not going to say anything because I'm trying to keep the peace.
Oh,
but you're not keeping the peace if there's a war within.
Yes, you're killing yourself.
I tell people this, and this sounds weird coming from a coach, but my wife's feelings are going to be hurt way before my feelings are going to be hurt. if there's some kind of tension in the household,
Yes.
if you think I'm not going to say anything about what I got going on that you did or didn't do as it pertains to me, I'm going to say it. You got to
Yes.
figure that mess out, because I'm not going to hold it in just to try to preserve. People have intimacy issues. They have sex issues because they're not trying to hurt somebody's feelings. You better tell him or her that that's not the right way to do it, and train them properly on how to treat your body or do whatever. Are you kidding me? No, your feelings will be hurt before I'm gonna sit there and try to. And that's what's so crazy. People don't realize. So people will, quote unquote, I'm keeping the peace, so I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to start anything. I don't want to get him or her upset. But what you're saying is, I love her or him more than I love myself, because I'm not willing to speak up for how I feel. I'm gonna let her feel or him feel all right. Now you got resentment. You don't even know why you're blowing up at him or her, and you never gave them an opportunity to see themselves, for them to have an opportunity to possibly change or realize what they did wrong or towards you or not. You don't know.
Carrying all that around for what? I can't read your mind. Nobody can read your mind. Just say
Not at
it.
all.
You have to be able to say it. You have
Exactly.
to have an atmosphere in your relationship where you're open and free to say what's on your mind. As long as you do it respectfully and you talk about your thoughts and your feelings, how can that be disrespectful? That's never disrespectful.
And there lies a problem. There lies a problem. We have people that are married and they have best friends. They're not married to their best friends. So this is what the problem is. Your best friend is the person that you're most intimate with, because they know everything about you. You don't feel like they'll judge you. But I have so many people that are married to their husband or their spouse or their wife, but their wife or spouse is not their best friend. So what they'll do is they'll tell me everything. And I'm like, well, why don't you tell your husband or your spouse? Oh, I can't tell him or her that. Wait, what?
What?
What do you mean? So what that tells me is your spouse is not your friend. And there's so many people that have a spouse and a friend, and their friend gets more intimacy than their spouse does, because their spouse. Now that's twofold. That's the spouse's fault, and that's your fault. One, because you didn't present yourself in your true, authentic form to where you gave them an opportunity to receive you. So again, you're having that mask. So you're hiding who you are, which is why a lot of people say, nah, I want to go hang out with the girls, or now I want to hang out with the fellas, because that's where they have normalcy. That's where they can put their hair down to be themselves. But their home, they have to hide and act different.
Well, so they had to hide and act different because they had to do it with their mama. That's data.
That part.
They had to do it in their household growing up. They couldn't be themselves with their and I hate to put it all on the mom, because I feel like that's so unfair. But this is what the data is telling us. That your relationship with your mother in teenage years.
But that's even more accurate with having siblings. Think about the parenting style. With my children, so think about parents. The two children, they're arguing or combative. What do? They send them to their room. With my children, I made them go to a room, and they couldn't leave the room until they resolved the issue.
Exactly.
But sending your children to the room, it separates them, and they never learn to resolve conflict. I was like, I don't care.
They won't even talk about it, because
y'all gotta act like y'all like each other or something, but y'all won't leave the same room until y'all get that mess resolved. But we're teaching people not to resolve issues. We take them away from each other, and they've never learned to resolve issues. So we learn when we get adults. I got a problem with you. I'm going to go to the next room. I'm going to go to the living room. I'm going to go to this room, and we never resolve the issues. It is definitely a reflection of parenting.
And this is really interesting, because I'm going to tie it back to what we talked about at the beginning. And at the beginning of our conversation here, we talked about the fact that our education system puts this emphasis on external validation. That sort of thing is almost like growing up in a family household where they put all these emphasis on external validation. You're not free to be who and what you are. And if you do speak up, And if you do say what you need to say that is contrary to what everyone else in the house says, they scapegoat you. You're the problem. So when you do speak up in your household, even as a child, usually as a teenager, when you do start speaking your mind, and the first thing they do is talk about how you are causing a problem because you're pointing out issues. And that's where they learn these toxic behaviors. It gets into scapegoating. And the person who doesn't speak, that person gets held up as the hero child.
That's accurate.
The person that we love because they get all the good grades and they don't disrupt the peace.
That's accurate.
And that we put the whole family has to be able to get along, not encouraging dissent, not encouraging everybody to be their individual selves and honor and respect who their individual selves are. You start to learn that I'm only good when I'm doing good, and that I have to squish how I feel, what I think. It doesn't matter. Because why? Because I don't matter.
That's right.
Because your thoughts and feelings don't matter. How can you separate that?
That's correct.
And therein lies you. Fast forward, you get into a relationship and your partner is expecting you to say it. You ain't never going to be able to say it because you learn that saying it is coupled with being wrong, disrupting the peace, that you're the problem because you are
even deeper than that. Because if you think about it, children aspire to be adults. That's why I always get on people as far as their parenting style. Like, hey, because I've had people to say, well, my child, he or she is acting grown or whatever because they're doing whatever. They could be drinking and smoking, whatever. But then you ask the parent, what do they do at home? They're drinking and smoking or whatever that is that they have a problem with their child trying to be. So I'm saying that to say, I present myself in a manner knowing that my child is going to aspire to be an adult. They're trying to grow up or be grown, so to speak. So why don't I present myself in a manner that I want them to be grown, immediately get to maturity, being respectful, and doing the things. And I'm not the parent that that's not your bills, so you don't have to worry about that. You're going to see me paying bills. You see how much bills are because that's what you're aspiring to do yourself. So the point I'm trying to make is when you get to an adult, now you're trying to take those two households and you're now the adult and you're trying to force that into your household as the actual person, the adult with your spouse. So now you're trying to take the rules and regulations from the house you grew up in, and you're trying to put it in the household that you're in, not acknowledging the fact that opposites attract.
Yes.
So with you two opposites trying to force different views on one household, now you have conflict and you have issues that you didn't even take the time to find out whether that was something that you should have adopted in your household or that you learned from your mom or not. I don't know if you heard the story of the woman that would make a ham. We talked about ham earlier. That would make a ham or she was making a ham for a holiday, and she cut the big butt off the ham and threw the butt off of the ham. She threw it away and she sat it in the actual pot. And her husband was like, "Hey, why are you throwing away all of that piece of ham?" She was like, "I don't know. I just saw my mom do it when she cooked, so I figured that's how you make a ham." She cut the butt off, threw it away. And he was like, "Something's wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that piece of ham. Why would you cut the butt off of the ham?" And she's like, "Well, that's what my mom did, so that's all I knew how to do." So she ended up calling her mom and asking, "Hey, don't you cut the butt off of the ham or whatever when you cook the ham?" And mom was like, "Yeah." She said, "Why do you cut the butt off?" And he said, "Because he told you should ask her why did she do it." She said, "Oh, baby, because our pan was always too small to fit the ham in there. So I cut the butt off so that it could fit inside the pan, and that's how I baked it." And I say all that to say we got a lot of stuff that we're doing because we saw and we never got the context as to why we're doing it so that we can alter it and shift the way that we're doing. And we're missing out on a big piece of meat that we could have maintained in our relationships.
Don't be cutting off that ham, and you know you need that ham at Thanksgiving. Everybody's gonna be helpful. But I think what you're saying, and I do want to say, like, there's no perfect childhood. There's no perfect relationship. But what you have to do to be able to take accountability is to be able to look at yourself, to be reflective. Reflective functioning has been the key piece that helps you get through all of the trials and tribulations that all of us, every single one of us, we got baggage. We got our little baggage. But you have, and then it's like, I'm gonna show you a little bit of my baggage. Hopefully I'm gonna open my closet up and show you what's in my closet a little bit, but I don't want to show you everything because I'm not comfortable. But intimacy is opening your closet and just letting it all out, let your baggage out. And that's how you grow with each other and show accountability. Oh my gosh. Edward, our time is up. I gotta thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Y'all, give Edward a round of applause here. He's so wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ditto.
We got good truth. Accountability isn't always comfortable, and it's it's something that we really need to consider to have a healthy relationship. So everybody, hopefully y'all learned something today. If you have, be sure to hit the like button. If y'all know somebody who's dealing with this sort of thing, and we're not calling nobody narcissistic and toxic and all of that. We're not labeling anybody, but just share this video, have this as a conversation. Be sure, like, share, and subscribe, please. I think conversations like this is important, so we need to get the engagement from all of you guys. Anyway, I just want to say goodbye to everybody. There's my website, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Follow me on Instagram. Also, as you see, wait, where's my other banner? I got products out, healing with dralicia.com. Go there. My new Shopify is open. Do some orders, do some Christmas shopping on there. And I'm so happy for everybody. And I will be back sometime soon. I got a big announcement to make, but I'll wait till later. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for growing with us, and Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. Bye-bye, everyone.
Be safe. Take care. Peace.